Hey crafters, welcome into Guys Craft 2. Sorry about that. There's too many buttons for me to have to click in order to go live. And this has been such a crazy weekend. It's just I don't need anything else taxing my poor old mind, I tell you. John Curtis, what up, y'all? Flash just quality gang signs. Oh, Rush, you always make me laugh. Hey, BBMK, welcome in. Hey, Vera, howdy from steaming Arizona. But we don't steam so much because we have the dry heat, right? So we don't have the humidity, but still hot as hot, I tell you. Hey, Sally, thanks for joining us this afternoon, this evening, for some of you, depending on what where you're at in the eastern United States or continental United States, right? It's been a long weekend, folks, I'm telling you. So I did realize today we are moving around and doing some stuff in one of the storage units. Hey, Tina, welcome in from New Mexico. How awesome is that? It's one of the states I have not been to. So I do hope at some point to make my way that over there. But trying to downsize some of the storage stuff that we have. We just have so much of it. Trying to make sense of all the craft supplies we had, and I found a ton of deco mesh for craft or wreath making, along with bunches and bunches. I think I have 12 bins of silk flowers. So at some point, you will see me do some probably some recorded videos around wreath making, especially with the evergreen wreaths and grapevine. I'll put that in the title too. So if really what you're only interested in is sewing and quilting and following us over there, that's great. I do like to do some other crafts and we do occasionally mix it up, but I always try to put that in the title. So if y'all just want to skip that, y'all can do so. And if you want to watch it, you can watch it and do that as well. Hey, Shirley from Wisconsin. I bet Shirley is actually having a pleasant summer, unlike us down here in the 110, 112. Just so crazy. I am ready to get to Shady Pines. So I'll work in the office tomorrow. Tuesday is always fun day. I have no idea how I scheduled this, but Tuesday morning I get to get up and go have blood work drawn, and then go have my teeth cleaned, and then jump in the car to run to the office to work, so I can get the car recharged. So I'll have enough battery to get me to Shady Pines for a holiday weekend. So the good news is I am off Wednesday, I am off Friday. So whenever I can get out of the office on Tuesday, I will be free until Monday, July 8th. So next weekend when you see me, you'll see me up at the park home. You'll see me working on some totally different projects. Who knows what we'll be working on. Hey, Joydy, welcome in. Thanks for joining us this evening. So I had planned to do some sewing. That's still a possibility. But John actually did complete some tasks this weekend. And so I wanted to share and talk about a little bit of that. Interesting enough, I was just talking about work. One of the ladies I work with was talking about that her Nana growing up taught all of them and then now their children how to crochet, knit, do a lot of crafting in that. And that actually each of the brothers and sisters growing up would spend the summer with Nana. They all have a Afghan to show for their work during the summer and how cool that is that she's been able to pass that legacy on. But the whole conversation started around, guys and crafting and what that looks like. And she said it was funny because her brother was talking about that, it's all female driven, right? Very female focused when it comes to crafting, and that don't people realize that guys craft too? And so then we started talking about the YouTube channel, and she did not know I had the YouTube channel. So it just kind of made me chuckle and made me happy with the name that we put together. So I thought that was funny. I did get to actually watch some YouTube lives yesterday and was able to join Sean for a little bit on his live. I was able to jump in and see some things Russ was doing. Got to catch up a little bit with Stephanie. Always enjoy watching Stephanie and Shannon and just that whole group. And then Steven had a kind of a wild card um, come so along yesterday, and I did join that for a little while as well. So spent a lot of time yesterday just kind of crafting, sewing. Um, we actually had tickets last night to the Phoenix Theater to see Fiddler on the Roof, which was actually a really good production. Our Phoenix Theater does an amazing job. I have to say, for what we pay in the quality and the level that we get, I couldn't be happier with. The only thing I could have been happier with is we had dinner at 5:30. Show started at 7:30. And at 10:20 or so, when the show let out, I was like, awful long way back home for an old man at 10:30 at night. I had no idea that that production was over 3 hours long. So it was a long fiddler last night. Again, they did a great job. We enjoyed it. It was fun, but you just never know. So with that said, I was encouraged yesterday because someone on Stevens Quilt Along had the Winding Star blocks in Runner, table runner from Sweet Pea. And of course, Sweet Pea is running a big sale right now. And she had just finished this, and I'm telling you, to see the finished product that she had put together was absolutely amazing. Which means then, of course, I had to go out on Sweet Pea's website and download and buy that, and other people encouraged that. So I did. I did pick this new pattern up. It is an embroidery through Sweet Pea. Um, but it was just too cute. And I really do enjoy doing table runners and that because I like the feel of getting something completed. Someone did tell me that I should start maybe spreadsheeting some of my expenses so I might have a better idea on how much I'm spending. I am definitely trying to spreadsheet all my pre orders, my subscriptions, and those things now. So I really understand better what I have bought. I need to do better about doing feel a little bit better about monitoring my overall spending, but at least I need to get away from Riley Blake door banners and not having duplicates and things like that. So that's part of what I'll be looking for. Russ says we enable each other on Steven's Zooms. I've noticed that no one was telling me to push back, but it's okay. It is what it is. I'll go back to work tomorrow and make a little bit to pay for it. Mm. That said, just as a random newsflash, I am not sponsored. I pay and buy everything that you see, every open subscription, every box that comes in, all of that kind of stuff. That comes from John and from John's paycheck and from John's funding. So I don't even get discount codes for any of the shops that we work with. If I find a discount code, it's just the same way that you would. So I don't get any type of sponsorship or anything back, just so you know. So you get my raw, honest opinion when I tell you that I really like Monique over at Open Gate Quilts. It's because I do like Monique and I do like what they're doing. It's not because she's done anything um, to sponsor me or provide discounts or whatever. All right, so enough on that soapbox. Let's look at the projects that John has finished because John actually got stuff done. So I showed you the University of Louisville quilt. I did finally get that quilt top completed. The sister quilt to that was the one for the U.S. Marines, and that is another Christmas present. So yes, all of these still need to get on the long arm, but at least the quilt top is done. So look how cool this overall turned out. And I just felt like because this is such a dark quilt, it really did need this star border to kind of give it a little relief. Um, so I am really, really happy, very ecstatic to finally have this done. I feel like I have just worked on these two quilt tops forever and a day, and I probably have, and that's partly me, and but we will get it done. So I now have 18 quilt tops for Gracie over here. And Gracie is soon enough going to have to start earning her keep, and that will come soon enough. Then yesterday I decided I am ready for Halloween. I am over the hot summer. I am ready to just jump in and get some things done. So I pulled out, oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. But I pulled out two Villa Rosa patterns yesterday. I got the first one done. I was just shocked at how quick this went together. And so I did get another quilt top done. So now that's 19 that need to go on. But let me see if I can back up so y'all can see. So this is the quilt top that I got done yesterday from Villa Rosa Designs. And so just, just the time that it takes not only to pick the fabrics, but to actually cut all this out. Um, a lot more time consuming than normal. I did not border this. I typically always border, but I really decided I didn't want to put a border around this. The pattern doesn't call for it, and I always border my quilts. So I decided not to do that and to kind of follow what the pattern said for a change. So I did not put a border on this. I wanted this to kind of be a little bit unique from some of the others that I did. I did ignore um, the directions when it did talk about pressing pressing to one side. So when you did these rows and put these together, it told you to press to, I think, the even numbers, which kind of taxed my brain a little bit too. Um, and that's the way they wanted you to put the seams together, I guess, so they would join up, match up better. I instead just took the time and did go through and do open pressed, and so I opened all of my seams because I thought it would look better, lay better, and just felt like that was more what that called for. So I did get that done yesterday. So I got a whole quilt top cut done and all that between Friday and Saturday. So I was very, very happy. So thank you all. Thanks, Tina, BBMK, Joy D. Thank you so much. Feels good to finally get a project completed in that I was actually checking things off yesterday. Russ says he has several that he needs to get on the long arm too. I'm finding that I enjoy the act of playing with the fabrics, picking all the stuff, doing all that much more than getting on the long arm. I think once I get over the fear of dealing with the long arm, I think it'll be much different, but we're just not there yet. Sally says, I gave the guys who fixed my swamp cooler the other day some, neck cooling wraps. So she must have gotten those done for the company owner and his friend and got a small thank you. I wanted to make another set for them this week. I bet they are absolutely loving those cooling neck wraps. That's just got to be that's just got to help. And I tell you, with the humidity and all that, I'm just shocked at how fast all of a sudden, because I like the hot weather. Hot weather to me, those 100, 105, I don't need the 115 stuff, but I don't mind it so much. But I began to wonder if we were ever going to get hot, and now we're hot. So it's just crazy. Russ says I would have twisted all those seams. It would have been a quilters. I like, I don't mind opening the seams. I don't know why. For some reason, that seems to go well for me. So I don't know compared to other things that I need to work on, but we'll see. Mm. So I did get two other projects cut. So I thought I might start actually working on this today. So this one's called French braids. I think I did a quick video to tell you all I was working on that. I did get everything cut for that. So I am anxious to kind of get that going. And I actually went shopping in John's, the quilting guys, um, fabric store and got most of my fabric here. I did have to go to I did have to run up to our local quilt store that's inside the compound just because the only black I had, I needed solid black to go with it. And the only solid black I had is I had bought 5 yards or something from Joann's when they had it on sale a year and a half ago. And I really realized the difference in quality. So I did not want to do that again with this quilt. So I ended up running up to Joann's and getting, not Joann's, but to our local quilt store to get some Kona black. So I did get that. I got all the squares cut for that. I'm going to match it with these Halloween bats, with this that says Black Hat Society, October 31st, full moon, Halloween, ghost, trick or treat. I think is really cute. I found some orange with spiders and spider webs. I have the purple because I have to have purple in. Anytime I can work purple in, it's going to get worked in. And then I found this green with all these crazy pumpkins. And I'm going to put this off orange in. I'm anxious to see kind of what happens at the end of the day. I really like this, but I don't know, depending on how it's going to line up and look with these oranges. But it's going to happen because I've already cut it. I put it together, and I'm kind of anxious to see if I'm really just disappointed or if it just makes it seem more Halloweenish. So that's a word. If you all did not know, Halloweenish is a word from Kentucky. So it is a good, and you all are allowed to use that when you need to. All right. So that's if John can quit rambling on, we might actually do a little cutting tonight, and we'll see how that goes. Then I found this panel yesterday, and it is a huge panel. So I've been trying to rearrange the craft room and get some stuff put together, and I found this gigantic fall panel. Actually, I think I bought it at the ocean, quilting at the beach. When we were at the beach a couple of weeks ago, they had this on clearance. I think it was like 75% off, but it is just a gigantic panel. And I am going to do nothing with this panel other than quilt it. So it is one of the first things. It is either the first or second thing that will go on Gracie over here, so I can practice in that. I'd love to find something with a fall leaf motif that might really be cool to quilt with it. So we'll see how that goes. I have two Christmas panels, and I was going to show you what those look like, but I have no idea where I put those that I wanted to quilt on here first, and they're actually smaller. So I will probably start at least with one of the Christmas ones, either just do both of those to get Gracie working and running smoothly, and then move to this big monster. I mean, this is just a huge panel. I've never seen a panel this big. And it's fine because this will end up being a charity quilt or something, or Lord knows I may end up liking the way I quilt it out and just toss it up on the wall somewhere. So you never know what John's going to do or what John's going to end up with. So let's see. Sally says she hates hot weather. Ironic, she lives here, spent 25 years in north central Texas in the heat and humidity. Tell you what, I am so much happier without the humidity. I was just brutally reminded of the difference when we went to the beach a couple of weeks ago with the kids, and it was just way too different for me. I just people laugh because it gets so hot here, but it is a dry heat and it is much different. Yes, I think the Halloween fabrics are cute. I am so excited about that because I just like those colors. Oh, Carrie said she just found our channel and it's first time watching. So, hey, Carrie, welcome to our channel. Thanks for joining in. Um, I just tend to rattle on. I'm supposed to be sewing in a few minutes, but thanks for dropping in. And you're always welcome as part of our YouTube family. Tina says, "Oh, she loves the Halloween. She loves the Halloween fabrics." Sally likes the panel. Thank you, Sally, and hi to everybody. All right, so all caught up. The last, so I knew I wanted to go on since I knocked out the other Halloween quilts so quickly. I thought, let me just, I'll do this other one, and then I found a Villa Rosa bin. So apparently, when Villa Rosa had a sale a few months ago, I bought a lot more. I know I ended up spending a lot more money than I meant to because I had gone in and added stuff to the cart, and then a couple of days later went back and actually went through and picked stuff I wanted and added that to the cart. And then when I checked out, it seemed a lot higher than it should have been. And it was because I ended up buying like 15 quilt kits from Villa Rosa. So, anyways, I'm sorting now, trying to keep quilt kits in a fall bin, a Halloween bin. Um, it just ended up being easier just to make a Villa Rosa bin. So Villa Rosa designs ended up in their own bin. That was the only way I could make it work. But such is life. As I was going through, I found another Halloween one that I thought, you know what, this should be pretty quick and simple. I can get this knocked out. I had hoped to get it all cut, so I might work on it tonight as well. I didn't finish getting it all cut. I've got strips that I need to cut, and I may end up cheating and grabbing out the AccuQuilt. Um, and it's so funny because I know people said, I can't believe you spent money to buy the strip cutters for AccuQuilt because strips are the easiest thing in the world to cut. I will just tell you, when I just flop 3 layers of fabric on there and shift it right through the AccuQuilt, um, it just feels so much better. So that's the only thing. I've got to cut the strips for this, but this one is called Fish and Chips. Of all places, I bought it from Fort Worth Studios, and so it was a kit. It came with this. If you can't tell, the center is meant to be a panel. And so when I got it out and started playing with it today, this is what ultimately the design ends up being. I think that is going to be super duper cute. It did come as a complete kit, so they actually give you the backing, the binding, and every piece around it. Obviously, you can tell it won't take that long, but I think it gives you a really nice um, look. Uh, and I think it'll be a fun finished project. They gave me some really, really cute fabrics in here. So let me see what I've got. So I ended up, they give you frogs to go around it. They gave me crows and the tree to go around it. They gave me witches flying on their brooms, and it's purple. So, it's perfect. And then they gave me rust orange pumpkins to go with it. So I just thought, oh man, this is so cute. Um, the borders in that are purple, so they couldn't have done a better choice there. And the backing is going to be the spider web. So I do need to finish getting this cut out, so I won't be able to work on that tonight. But I did think it was super duper cute, and I wanted to show you this panel because I did get it. I did get it trimmed and ready, and how adorable is that? And what's funny is I've never seen this panel anywhere else. So it's just so funny what all the different fabric shops carry, because Lord knows I am online enough and I am in enough. I mean, we have 5 local fabric stores here. I mean, do you know how fortunate I am to live where I can get to 5 um, fabric stores within really about 10 minutes. And 2 of them are right here in the compound. So it's just amazing to me. I mean, it's just so fortunate that we have what we have. So with that said, I want to get over and try to do a little sewing tonight. Hey, Katrina, thanks for joining. I don't think I said hi yet. So thanks for being in tonight. And we are just randomly talking about some fun things and what's going on. Would be interested, who's got 4th of July plans? Is there anything special coming up? We'll be headed up to Shady Pines, but curious if anyone's traveling or doing anything fun um, with you all. If so, just drop a note in the chat. Sorry, I feel like out here I stay dehydrated. It's like, oh my goodness, I can't ever get enough. Um, get enough liquid in me. All right. Oh, sorry, trying to figure out. I wanted to change out the black thread. So let me see if we can get that going. And I might actually uh, cut and sew, or not cut, but quilt a little bit this evening. How fun would that be? Oh, Katrina says she was embroidering bumblebees. How fun is that? I am looking to do a lot more embroidery. I bought a few OESD thread kits because I wanted to do kind of like that Thomas Kincaid, but I'm not doing the Thomas Kincaid. But I do want to do something very similar. So looking at what that looks like and what that's going to mean. So that should be interesting in itself. I have never done anything big like that, especially given that I'm going to have to sew it and do all that afterwards. So that will be interesting to see how that pans out for me. Let's see. I think John threw the tube away because this was the last bobbin out of that group. So now we'll just stick it there and hope John remembers that he has a loose bobbin in there. Maybe I'll stick it in the top of this black one. We'll see how that goes. No travel plans for Joydy. He's going to catch up on projects. That's my plan. I have so much up there at the park home. A lot of it needs to be cut and done, but I really would like to at least try to start on a couple of the Kona block of the months because I've had those a while now. So it would be nice to at least get one of those done. Jean's in tonight. She says hi, bye. She must be having a busy time. So that's all good. Sally says her guy lives in Laguana Hills, which is a 2-hour drive. They decided to stay in their respective homes, concerned about the fire danger. Oh, I did not realize that, Sally. That's crazy. You know, it's interesting what you just don't realize. I remember a few years ago traveling out to California, and I remember when I got there, um, it was smoky and just nasty. And I was in San Francisco, and I remember someone goes, "You know, they're having forest fires," you know, and I'm like, "Well, no, not in San Diego, but you know, even a couple hours away." Now living here in Phoenix, we have our own issues with forest fires, but at the same time, we have to be careful, you know, of what happens in other areas and that. So it is just crazy. You know, it's stuff you don't think about unless you're around those areas and exposed to it. So, Sally, definitely stay safe, protect your property, and hopefully your guy will as well. So maybe Sally has a fun project she can work on over the 4th of July. I actually did get the house flipped today, so I put most of our pride decorations away and did start getting out July 4th. So out front now, the mats, the garden flags, all that stuff reflect July 4th. So I am ready for the holiday next week, even though I won't be here. Trina says, I'm working on Ingrid's Wildflowers I'm going to put the bumblebees in the corners. I think that would really be cute. Interesting enough, I thought the same thing on a couple of the Halloween quilts. I had seen someone actually stitch a really cute, heavy outline of a ghost and put those on some quilts a while back. So, you know, there's no original idea. We all learn from each other. I ended up not doing that on this one, but one of these Halloween quilts may end up with an embroidered ghost. I just thought that was such a clever and cute idea. I'll be honest, I actually looked for that ghost and had a really hard time finding anything that I liked or thought it was close to it. And I felt like, Lord knows you all see how much shopping I do between online and everything else. You would think I should have enough resources to be able to find exactly what I wanted, but I haven't. And so that's one of the reasons I didn't do it. But I will find one or I will digitize one myself to make me happy. So that's the fun thing about learning to digitize. Now, fingers crossed this works because I was sitting here running my mouth the whole time. And look at that. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna be a real YouTuber before it's over with. So if you're all wondering, well, they used to be 99 cents, but now they're $1.25. But I have probably about 15, 20 of these bins, and I keep all my work in progress in the bins. It just helps me. It just makes sense to me. It's actually a holdover from back in the day when we had our custom embroidery shop, and that's the way we used to do orders. So we knew everything for an order was in one bin. So I still use that. Oh, Katrina says, look at kids' coloring pages. And that's exactly what it looked like, Katrina. So you're right. That's where I need to look. It's just been so crazy. Carrie says she has 10 subscription box projects to start and finish before I have knee replacement surgery in 15 days. Stay safe for all those in the fire range. Carrie, we hope your surgery goes well. We hope that you have a quick recovery where you'll be able to sew. I just can't imagine. Mm-mm-mm. Just, yes, we all pray and hope for a quick recovery for you and that your knee surgery goes well. My sister in law, I just found out, apparently had hip surgery. So, interesting enough, I don't see my brother. Lord, I don't see my brother, but every 5 years maybe. We tend to talk every 4 or 5 months. I haven't talked to him for a while. I did find out, like I said this morning, that apparently his wife had hip surgery. And apparently, it went well in that. So they're on the East Coast, back in Kentucky and Florida. So I don't see them very often. You already talking about applique projects. I started looking at stuff today. I have a lot of applique projects, and I'm not really excited about them. I am trying to redo some of the craft space, and the plan is to get the Cricut back out and make the Cricut earn some of its money and see if I can't push some of those applique pieces over onto the Cricut and let it cut those for me. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that will work for me. Um, Carrie says, thank you. Can you tell I've had too much coffee today? I got in trouble at work the other day because I have always been, if they had done diagnosis back when they should have, I have always probably been ADHD. I've always bounced off the wall. Even at this age, I'm still hyper. And my mother was even worse than me. The other day at work, one of the ladies goes, are you just loaded on caffeine or what is the deal with you today? And I realized because normally I drink a 16, 18 ounce cup of coffee. I usually drink one regular and then I switch to decaf. And I'd actually drink like four of those regular strength. And so it was very apparent that I was wired on caffeine because I just can't drink that much caffeine. Mm-mm-mm. Too crazy. All right, let's test stitch this to see if John actually got that put together where it will stitch out nice for us. And John can actually stitch a little bit and see what's going on. I will say I was happy about how much I got done yesterday. And so it did make me feel good that that I can still actually thread the machine, make the machine work, and do what needs to be done. Now the next step is getting the long arm going, and once we get that done, we will be good to go. Also learning much better about how to hold a 1/4 inch seam, and that is making such a difference in my designs. So I am very happy with that. And I know I'm doing a better job holding the 1/4 inch seam because I have plenty of quilt women friends who like to always check to see if I'm doing better with my 1/4 inch seam, because apparently I used not to do that great with it. And such is life. Oh, where's the button? I will say the one thing I do not like about the Viking, this is the Epic 2 Husqvarna, is it always starts on maximum speed. I think that's because the lady that owned this machine mainly did um, embroidery. I have tried my best to figure out where that is in the machine to adjust it, but I have not found the right setting yet. I thought I went through and changed every setting, every place I could find one, but when I turn the machine off and turn it back on, it still goes right back. So I don't know. I can't believe that's the way Viking Husqvarna wanted it, but maybe. Uh, Here says she loves my storytelling. I always have lots of stories. I feel bad because I've got a boss that's really a great boss. But you can tell like she wants the facts when it comes to talking about stuff. And I always feel like, oh, well, you need to understand the backstory, and I need to tell you this so we can get there so you understand how I made the decision. So I'm trying to do better at work. Um, she's never said a word, but I just feel like I know at times she's like, "Oh my God, he's coming and he's going to tell me something." So BBMK says she has 4 shots of espresso every morning. I would be in the ER if I had 4 shots of espresso every morning. I'm very sensitive to caffeine. I'm drinking a Mountain Dew tonight. Cold does not bother me for some reason, but hot does. So that's why I can only drink 1 cup of regular. Interesting enough, my brother is exactly the same ways, and he has chest pains. If he drinks too many regular cups of coffee, I do the same thing, and we just happen to find out by coincidence because it's not like us boys are very open and sharing. It is just what it is. All right, let's see if John's going to be able to stitch some of these. How cool is this going to be? Oh, and look at the border fabrics that I put together. So if you can tell on the pattern for fish and chips, it calls for black, right? So I did cut the big solid black squares because I thought that would be cool. But then I found this at the store when I had to go get the other black, and I thought this was too cute with the skull and crossbones and the little orange stars. So that is actually what I'm using as my other pieces. So this says pair up the color strips. So all right, so let's do, all right, so I need to sort this out a little bit. So I need to make 4 sets. 4. All right, there's that. That. This one. And this one. All right. Now, we'll see how we want to put these together. So I pair that with this, maybe. Yeah, and I can pair. Sorry, guys. I should have sorted this a little bit more before I got live, but fortunately, you all are very patient with me and just tolerate me. So it is all good. So we'll put that one with this one. Where's my card again? I think I'm missing one. Nope, doesn't look like it. All right. So we'll see how this turns out initially. Oh, you know what? Why don't I go back and pay attention too to what's going on in the chat? Y'all never knew I could be so quiet, did you? Hey, Maureen, welcome in. Happy Sunday to you. Hope you've had a great weekend and stayed out of trouble and just had fun. You know, sometimes we just want to have fun. Hear that? Oh, DVMK says her shots are over ice. I've never been an iced coffee fan. I don't mind drinking iced tea. You would think being raised in the South, I would drink more iced tea, but I really don't. Um, I don't mind it. It's just not necessarily my favorite. So I do me, and that's what's important. I think what I'm supposed to do is just the opposite of what I've put together here. So we'll see how that goes. It would be nice to at least get one of these sewn while you're on tonight. I did think about too, depending on how the 4th of July goes, I may do a live on the 4th of July. I don't know what other people have planned. The retirement park that we are in, they actually have a dinner and band and all that for us, but they do it on July 3rd. So I thought for some of us, it might be fun to do something on July 4th and maybe do something a little bit earlier in the day. So I will see when I get up there on Tuesday night what it looks like and figure out if that really makes sense to do. And if it does, I will get something posted. Uh, and hopefully we can do a little bit of just sewing and chatting and just having a grand old holiday weekend and being happy how things are working out. Goodness gracious. All right, for that. All right, now this makes sense. Now I'm starting to understand what they want here. All right, so now I got to figure out if I like the way I put these fabrics together. And I think I do. All right, so we are going to start with these two. So if you all are going to be around and available on the 4th, plan to look for a stream from me, and we will see if we can't just spend a little time sewing, chatting together. I have no idea what the sewing is going to look like because we'll be up north, but the plan is just to relax, chill, and have a good time. So I do have a question. So I am so lazy. I absolutely hate pinning. And so I try to avoid pinning at all cost. I will occasionally use clips. Um, I will say the other quilt, Halloween quilt, did get big enough for me and away from me that I ended up having to go back and pin it. And I thought, some of my life probably would be better if I would learn to pin things a little bit more. But I don't know. Part of that's with being male and thinking I can just do all things, because I am John, right? I mean, so let's be real. So I'm curious how often you all pin. If you pin your work more frequently, or if you just kind of go for it sometimes. I do like using the clips better than the pins, but I don't think the clips hold as well as the pins do. And I have thousands of pins everywhere, but it's just not something I enjoy doing. I think it's because I always seem to stick myself, which then just makes me irritated. And I cannot pin and do a live because then I would say words that I'm not supposed to say because YouTube does censor us and says that we have to be very nice and clean. And you all think I'm just a Southern gentleman. So I wouldn't want you to know that I know bad words. And I save those for when I am not on the air live. I'm not allowed to use them at work with employees either, although some days I have to tell you, oh, that gets to be tough. Hmm. So, Maureen says she gave up coffee about 2 years ago. Now around noon, she has a cup of tea. Yeah, it's too British for me. I cannot do tea. Tried and tried. Just not especially hot tea. I just now, what's funny though is when I go to a good Chinese restaurant, I want their hot tea. I love their hot tea, but just that British stuff and all that. Yeah, it just ain't me. I got way too much Southern in me. Russ says he only clips with borders, strips and piecing. He just wings it. Yeah, I've tried, but it just frustrates me. BBMK says, see, that's why we made such good friends when we got to meet each other at the quilt show and that, because yes, yesterday um, I pinned one of the long strips, even counted, and dang, I left a pin in, and just as I picked it up to grab it, I stabbed myself again. I thought, okay, this is why you hate pinning. Carrie says she's still fairly new to quilting and sews more than just a square. I've always used the clips because I stab myself so many times with pins. Yep. Again, I do like the clips. I pin it seems sometimes between coming from a clothing sewing background pinning it. Well, yeah, I bet it was. I bet you just grew up just knowing, right? You had to pin everything. Um, Maureen says I've always pinned everything, but was a garment maker and I got used to doing a lot of pinning. Yeah, that seems to be very much the consensus. It's interesting. One of the ladies in our quilt club that is absolutely the most adorable thing ever. I love her dearly. She is like a mother to me. Um, she's just such a fantastic woman. Um, and it's interesting because I'll talk with her about doing different things and that. I will say she's one of those people that I drive absolutely nuts because she sees that I use glide thread and different things and not Aurifil because she's an Aurifil girl and you only use Aurifil. So it drives her nuts. Anytime I'll say something about, well, I'm having this issue with the machine because of that thread you use. It's not always about the thread, but anyways, love her to death. But she was a garment maker, so it's interesting at times what I'll ask her something, and she'll respond, and she'll go, "But you got to remember, I was in the garment industry for 20 years or however long it was. I have no idea." But I thought so. It's interesting because I came from the furniture industry. Um, Years ago, I worked for a furniture company. I was in charge of their training center to teach new employees how to sew, do the framing, do the upholstery, and that for furniture. And they didn't pin anything because they didn't have time to pin, and they also used air-driven sewing machines. And oh, that was just beyond crazy to me. And fortunately, we had an on-site nurse because we had multiple times that different employees would sew their finger in that, and I think that's what stuck with me for so long before I got um, before I actually got brave enough to even try sewing. I had the biggest fear of that. Dale says, "I am welcome, Dale. Thanks for joining us today." I am the same. Clips only when necessary. Very rarely use pins. Pin only with the major points. Brian, I'm new to quilting and I decided to just use clips. Hey, Brian, welcome in. Thank you both for being here tonight. And yes, look, I keep this whole thing full of clips. I don't mind the clips. Now, I will tell you what I did figure out is I do like these tiny clips. They do seem to be a little bit more secure sometimes than the bigger clips. So I need to do a better job sorting them because I've got them both in the same little bin. So that creates a problem in and of itself. And guys, I want to make sure I get at least one of these done so you can see what I'm working on. So you can say, oh, look, he actually sewed tonight and got something accomplished. Because I do tend to rattle on, and it really is not intentional. But I do enjoy talking. I do love my YouTube family. You guys are just so awesome. I appreciate each and every comment that you all make. Um, and it's just nice to have have your own little family and friends that you can talk to about things that interest you and not have people, you know, 'cause I tell you, this world has just gone crazy. And I was talking to somebody the other day and they said something about, this is going on and that's going on. And I was like, I'm not even sure about half of that. I said, I'll be honest, I live in a 55 plus community. I tend to stay within my community. I'm very happy with the old folks that I live around because, I'm one of them, right? And it's nice that if I needed an egg, I can go next door and get an egg. I mean, it's just, I have such great friends and neighbors in this community. It is just so fun to be here. Uh, it's like Mayberry, or what I would imagine Mayberry to be. And they were like, "Well, what's that mean? Like when you go up north?" And I'm like, "Oh, I fixed that. I called it another 55 plus community." So I just love that generation, right? I mean, it's just so much different. All right, so let's look. So this is the pattern that we're working on. Obviously, I've got to sew the strips together to get things started and make things look right. But how cool, instead of doing the solid black on all of them, I did this black. And I can't see what I'm showing you. I think that's going to be really, really cool. And yes, if you could see, I will actually go back probably and press these seams open versus ironing to the dark side, which I know is what I'm supposed to do. But for some reason, I don't mind um, opening my seams. I know other quilters have told me that that drives them nuts, but I don't know. I don't mind pressing my seams open. It just seems to make sense to me and seems to create a lot less um, work for me. It seems like it runs through my machine so much faster and better. Let's see what else. So, Brian, just so you know, I have only been quilting for about a year and a half. It'll be 2 years come October that I've actually been quilting, and that's why I started this channel was to tell you if I could get this done and figure it out, anyone can get it done and figure it out. Hopefully, you've got a good support team. If not, that's what we are here for. Always feel free um, to comment, reach out, whatever. But make yourself part of our new family. Maureen says what was hard to get used to was using a 1/4 inch seam instead of 5/8. What's been hard for me is getting used to reading inches. I realized one of the first ones that I cut, one of the first pieces I cut, I took over to Quilt Club. The stupid thing was just not going together. Now, granted, it was very small pieces, and I'm not ready for some of the small work. And then one of the ladies measured it, and she goes, "Are these supposed to be 1/2 inch blocks or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "They're not." And I realized I misread the ruler and cut everything at a 1/4 inch and not at the 1/2 inch like I should have. So, we keep learning. Sally says I use all kinds of thread, including serge or cone. It all works. I agree. I think it's funny how people get very hung up on thread. I use glide, Orafil, and I do have some Isocort. Um, if I if you told me tomorrow I could only use two threads forever and ever in my machines, all my home machines, it's going to either be Glide or Orafil. I'll be honest, I don't like Orafil for the lint. I don't like the cotton thread the way it dirties up my machines and that. I did when we had our commercial embroidery business, we only used Madeira, and I loved Madeira, and we only used the poly. And so I think that's just part of it. I think it keeps your machine so much cleaner in that. And I don't think people know the difference when you're talking about piecing in that. But some of the ladies I know think they can tell that. Oh, Brian says he found a good deal on little clips on Amazon. I need to look. I really do. I need to get some more. And see, it's nice to have somebody else encourage me to go out and do some shopping besides Russ. Um, oh my goodness. Sally says back in 72, she taught herself to sew at age 10. That is awesome. It's funny. My daughter, that's one of the things she harped on um, for while we were at the beach is that she really wishes I was closer and I could teach my granddaughter and her how to sew and put things together and that. And I told her that we will figure some things out. I'll help them pick a intro machine. I'm really hung up on Viking and really like my Viking Husqvarna now. But I have thought about getting them a not the Bernina but the Burnett machine. We'll see. I want to get out. Want to make sure that I get them a nice, good machine to start with. She's only 6, so she's got a few years to go. Right now, she's too much of a ham. If you all were on the live a few weeks ago, you know, little Ava Lynn can definitely run the channel, if anything. Dale says, getting ready to start a new quilt, found a bear paw that looks like a fun sew. Yes, I tell you what, I am a glutton for patterns. I love De La Rosa because they're just so cheap. Now I've got 4 of them going at one time. So we'll see how that turns out. They said that you're in the right place. John loves Halloween. I love everything about Halloween. And yes, the bear paw does sound cute. It's funny, I just put a couple of patterns away today, and they were kind of that nursery rhyme, but I'm a nursery child kid too. So that is what happens. Brian says he's a very bad influence when it comes to shopping. Um, um, I don't need any encouragement. If you go back, you will see that we do lots of shopping. We do enjoy shopping. You know, yeah, you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. So I might as well get it now while I can. But it is what it is, right? Oh, Sally says she is 72. She's been sewing 52 years. How amazing is that? I think that is so exciting. And it's so funny to talk to people like Sally, right, that have sewn for so many years and they've seen so many changes in the industry and they've seen so many things happen. It's interesting. I do have a featherweight that I need to get out and play with more. But I like my little featherweight machine. And, you know, I remember a couple of years ago when I told my mother I was going to start quilting and sewing. And she said, well, you know, Sears is just as good as Singer. So, you know, in fact, I think Singer makes a lot of the Sears and Roebuck machines in that. I was like, yeah, I don't think people are buying Sears anymore because Sears is basically out of business. And don't think people are buying Singer like they used to. But that's funny because that's, you know, back in when I was growing up in the 70s, early 80s, that's my mother still has a Sears and Roebuck machine. And she's every now and then goes down and turns it on and does her thing. Russ says, John will me tell you that you're a bad influence with shopping. He lies. Yes, that's it. Yes, that's what it is. Mm-mm-mm. Russ is wanted to encourage me yesterday to buy that pattern from Sweet Pea. Sally, I will look up the name. It really looks nice and seems way easy to do. This is one for a free pattern. Yeah, you know, I love when we find free patterns. How cool is that? I do think, yes. I have learned that I have not had enough um, fabric. I don't know that there is such a thing as too much fabric, but we will see. All right, let's get one more strip done, and then we have to go get ready for dinner. I have a lot going on. I have to get ready to go back to work tomorrow. How crazy is that? Nobody wants to go back to work. very fortunate to have a good job, a nice job, work for a great company. But at the end of the day, I still like to play. So I'm definitely ready for vacation and be able to have a few days off. It's funny. I just came back from vacation, right? But I tell you what, that just wiped me out being with the grandkids and that. We actually just reserved the condo townhouse thing for next year. Um, that we will be going back to Myrtle Beach. We've been going to Myrtle Beach now for like 4 years. We love all things Myrtle Beach. Next year, we're actually staying in North Myrtle. So we'll see how that goes. It seems to be a little bit more family oriented. Myrtle Beach seems to be getting a little bit more crazy, much more teen driven than I remember. Because when I was a teenager, nobody wanted to go to Myrtle Beach. We wanted, uh, Lord, back in the day, it was Daytona, right? I mean, Daytona is where you wanted to be if you wanted to party and do some crazy. Because in fact, I think back in that time, Florida had the 18 drinking age. So you were able to buy beer and do things down there at 18. So federal government changed all that. But, I do remember some of that craziness. But we will be back at the beach second, third week of June, just like always, with grandkids and having such a good time. Should not take that long to cut thread. Oh, all right. So apparently I ran out of bobbin somewhere. So yeah, looks like it's bobbin. So I'm going to have to go back and clean that up. So I will do that, but I'm not going to do it on a live. So guys, I am going to wind up. We have tacos tonight. Tonight is Taco Sunday night, so I got to go in and make Mexican rice and get that going. And Curtis chopped up the lettuce and tomatoes and all that. So we are having tacos with Mexican rice for dinner tonight. Something simple and easy. And we'll see how that. I bought EQ8. If you all want to mentor and help me, that would be great. I think EQ8 has so much to offer, and I am a long way from being able to use it. Catherine says, "Hey, Catherine, she still uses her Kenmore." Like I said, my mother still uses it. She does not like all these crazy um, computerized machines. I can tell you. Of course, she's 93. So, guys, I am going to wrap up. Thank you so much for being part of Guys Craft 2 tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love our YouTube family. As always, look forward to next Sunday. And until next time, happy crafting.